This is part 5 of nutrition truths that are probably going to piss you off. Why? Because it's what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And if you're seeing this, it means I've reached my target audience. Let's begin. And in case you're new here, I'm Lainey, a registered dietitian, certified personal trainer. Here are my credentials. If you still don't believe me, that's fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. Coming in hot with number 1, white rice is not bad for you. As a matter of fact, it's actually eaten by over 50% of the world's population as a primary staple food literally every single day. So if it was so bad for you, then why is everybody eating it? Well, it's just fallen hostage to the whole carbs are bad movement because it's a simple carb and people think that simple carbs are all bad for you. When in reality, it's actually one of the more nutrient dense, very simple, extremely low fat and lean carb options that you can use. So while yes, the bran and the fibrous parts are removed, especially in the United States, it's actually enriched with iron and B vitamins, which makes it an excellent source of these micronutrients. It's also extremely versatile, very affordable, and very easy to make. I very frequently and commonly suggest using it in literally any form as a great pre-workout or post-workout snack to get a quick source of energy back into your muscles to use as lean, easy fuel for workouts. And for those with celiac or gluten intolerances, it's also gluten-free. And think about it, you can get it in literally every form. Puffed rice, rice cakes, cooked rice, cream of rice, Rice Krispie treats. So stop demonizing it and start using it to your advantage. Okay, number 2, nuts are a terrible snack. Stop eating them as a snack. It's not helping you. Especially if you're trying to lose weight, there are way better, way higher volume options for snacks. Now, before you get all pissed off at me, I'm not here to tell you that nuts are bad. In fact, nuts are fantastic for us. They're full of fiber, healthy fats, tons of micronutrients, but they are a very calorie dense snack. Now remember, calorie density doesn't necessarily mean that something's bad for you. Just because something has a lot of calories per serving, even if it's a small volume, doesn't make it unhealthy. However, nuts are a calorie dense and nutrient dense food, meaning they have lots of good nutrients, but not a lot of volume. So if you're actually hungry and you want to have a snack, it's not going to feel like you eat much. One of the ways I describe it to a lot of the clients that I work with is think about your stomach as this big empty bucket and you're throwing just a little teeny tiny bit of something in there. Not really going to feel like you're filling it up, right? And because of that, they can be pretty easy to overeat. So you can eat handfuls and handfuls of them and be like, oh, well, yeah, I had some nuts. They're good for you, right? Yeah, that's true. However, you also just had like 600 calories from nuts from this handful, and it still doesn't even really feel like you ate anything. So have peanut butter and an apple, have peanut butter and banana, have some nuts and a piece of fruit, have some nuts and a little bit of yogurt or cottage cheese, have something else with more volume that's also going to take longer to break down and digest. So you actually feel the physical volume in your stomach like you ate something and it's going to stick with you longer. So it'll get you through to your next meal more easily. So be mindful that just because something has a lot of calories doesn't make it unhealthy, but also doesn't necessarily mean that it's good on its own. Okay. And number 3, eggs are not raising your cholesterol. Okay. If you have high cholesterol, you can eat eggs. Stop being afraid of them and stop demonizing eggs. Eggs are one of the most magical, most nutrient dense foods in existence on this planet. They're also one of the only food sources that you can get vitamin D from. But one thing I think that people don't understand about how cholesterol works is that if you eat foods with cholesterol, that's not the primary reason why you have high cholesterol. Your blood levels of cholesterol are mostly from your liver. So if you eat foods that have more cholesterol in them, your liver will naturally produce less. The foods that are actually raising your cholesterol levels are the ones that are high in saturated fat and trans fat. Now, the thing is, we don't really see trans fats on labels anymore because we've pretty much gotten rid of them altogether. So you really don't have to worry about that one. Saturated fat is where most people run into issues. Fried foods, heavily fatty cuts of meat, so bacon, cured meats, sausages, things like that. Butter-based things, pastries, heavily processed foods, full-fat dairy products, essentially everything that tastes good. That's where all of your saturated fat comes from. So if you aren't eating a lot of unsaturated fats, so olive oils, nuts and seeds, avocado, salmon, those lower your bad cholesterol and help to raise your good cholesterol. But if you're not prioritizing those as your primary sources of fat, then you're going to run into problems. So before you freak the ever-loving fuck out and say, oh, I can't be eating eggs every day because it's raising my cholesterol, eggs are probably the least of your concern. They are so incredibly nutrient dense. You are getting so many good vitamins and minerals. Don't cut them out of your diet. And don't be afraid of them and only eat egg whites, especially if you can't stand just having egg whites by themselves. You can add egg whites in to get some extra protein, but don't be afraid to keep the yolk in. And this applies to you if you already have high cholesterol too. This is a myth. This is one that we have myth busted 1,000 times over, but yet people still don't seem to get it. If you guys like this and found this helpful, give me a like and a follow. I'm posting tons of this stuff all the time, and let me know if you want a part 6. Okay, bye!